Join us in a little warm-up if you're ready.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Yes, it is.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
All right. Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Walnut Creek. We're going to choose love now. All right. You want to teach the line
Okay,
that is
so
most
this-
important. The new song.
This song, we've only sung it once, and maybe you weren't even here, so it's not going to be so familiar probably to most of you. But you all know how to choose love, right? So this is how that part goes. if you don't know the rest of the song. So, here it comes again.
The key.
I choose love. All right, we're ready to sing it. Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. That's right, you do. Love's always present. It's what I'm made of. I choose love.
All right, can you rise in body and spirit and join us?
Each other. We are one. One tie that binds us that can't be undone. I choose love. We've got peace in our life. Now we're going to have peace in our family. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present. It's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one loving family, sharing one son. I choose love. Beautiful. Now we're going to send it out to the planet. Peace for our planet is growing because, really feel it, I choose love. Let love be present. It's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One choice unites us. Let this be the one.
Make the choice.
I choose love. Sing that again. I choose love. One more time. I choose love.
Good morning. My name is Holly Cursis. I'm happy to be here and happy to see all of you. Welcome to Unity of Walnut Creek. We are pleased to have Lisa Snordham Phelps and Joanne Finn with us this morning as our featured artists, accompanied by Dave, Dusty, and Larry. And now I ask you to please turn off your cell phones so that we can enjoy this sacred time together. And please join me by turning to the camera and waving hello to our friends at home. Your presence adds to our spiritual community. We appreciate you. Today we have a special treat. We are thrilled to welcome Matthew Fox as our guest speaker and workshop facilitator. Matthew is an Episcopal priest with the soul of a mystic, a deep heart for sacred earth, and the spirit of an activist. He has authored more than 30 books, is the founder of Creation Spirituality, a mystery school and spiritual curriculum for divine humanity, and founder of the Cosmic Mass, an experiential workshop experience including ecstatic dance designed to appeal to a younger generation. To learn more about this inspirational man, please see him on the patio after the service and attend his workshop at 2 p.m. this afternoon. Please, well, we already have welcomed Matthew Fox. Unity is a spiritual path, is a positive path for spiritual living. At Unity of Walnut Creek, our mission is In loving community, we empower spiritual growth by modeling and teaching universal spiritual principles. I invite you to join me in affirming our statement of faith. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. As we welcome our newcomers, I invite the ushers to come forward. If you're new and here with us for the first time, please raise your hand, and we would like to give you a welcome packet. Paul, back here too. And back there. Oh, we've got... Okay, but wait, we have more for you. Please go out on the welcome table after the service and say hello to everyone. And inside, you can get a welcome packet out there. And inside, there's a connection card that you can take it to the bookstore. There's a special gift for you. We hope you'll choose to stay afterwards and say hello and that you'll come back again. For everyone, there is connection cards available in the seat pocket in front of you. With this card, you may submit a prayer request, and our prayer team will pray with you throughout the week. You may also share feedback or request information. Please place your card in the basket with the offering later in the service. Now, please take a moment to greet the people immediately around you.
Bravo.
And now for our announcements. We have several activities happening here at Unity. Are you curious about the archetypes that are arising today that allow us to access the sacred? Join us today at 2 o'clock for a workshop with Matthew Fox. He is world-renowned, cutting-edge theologian who will teach us new and ancient names for the divine. These are the names that can most readily stir us to work for the survival of our species and for our planet. Join Reverend Kristen to learn more about Unity beliefs, principles, and history in the Unity's basic class that starts on March 28th. This class is open to everyone, and all 3 sessions are required if you'd like to become a member of our center. The Children's Easter Choir will be rehearsing on Wednesdays starting on March 27th. If you have children that like to sing, please sign them up by following the easy directions in your bulletin. Join us on Saturday, April 6th, to experience and learn about pagan forms of worship from Eileen O'Brien, who is a ritualist, author, and activist. This program is being offered by the Interfaith Council of Contra Costa County in an effort to bring inclusivity to all forms of worship. Join us to experience the positivity of paganism. And now I'd like to invite Tyler to the platform.
Come on, Tyler. We have so much fabulous activity going on around here. We're very excited to have Matthew Fox here. And then right away, the following weekend, on Saturday night, the 30th, we have an amazing experience. I don't know if you've heard of a man named James Twyman. 25 years ago, he created this Peace Troubadour program in which he took the prayers for peace from all the world religions and set them to music. He's doing a tour now to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Peace Troubadour. But what he's bringing to us is this amazing program, The Passion of St. Francis, in which he will become everybody's favorite St. Francis of Assisi with music and story, and really embody St. Francis, and then have a discussion with us about what we can learn from this amazing man and bring that message to our lives today. So this is one night only, Saturday the 30th, this coming Saturday. You can sign up on the patio today. You can also go on our website and sign up. There's a book that goes with this called Giovanni and the Camino of St. Francis that James Twyman will bring. So it's a really special experience and pretty unique for the kind of offerings we've had here. So do not miss it. This coming Saturday, sign up. Any questions, talk to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler. You can also check our bulletin and our website for more information about these events and other events at our center. And now I'd like to invite Matthew Fox and our prayer chaplain, Bobby Bader, to the platform. As we begin our meditation, I invite you to settle in. Take a deep breath and relax into your chair. And let's take another deep breath together. We will begin with our community prayer, then some relaxing music, followed by a guided meditation led by Matthew Fox.
Today's reading is an excerpt from The Order of the Sacred Earth by Matthew Fox. The words are cosmologist Brian Schwem. The archetypal story ordering this dimension of the universe begins with the atom, hydrogen atom. In the previous era of humanity, by which I mean the modern industrial era, which is presently in its death stage, scientists were convinced they understood the hydrogen atom in all its details and thought of it as indestructible and inert. They then discovered something that took them by surprise. They learned that in the center of stars, hydrogen atoms are transformed into carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and all the elements that make up our bodies and the bodies of every living being. Here's the feature of this discovery that relates to the order of the sacred earth, and that I ask you to think about. An individual hydrogen atom cannot transform itself into carbon, nitrogen, or phosphorus. An individual hydrogen atom will persist as it is without change for billions of years. At the most, it might disintegrate into an electron and a proton. It will never create anything by itself. But the amazing fact is that if a hydrogen atom finds itself in the intense and interacting community called a star, it discovers that it has the power to participate in crucial ways in its transformation into the elements that give birth to life. In the community called a star, an individual atom becomes the gateway into the next era of the universe's story. This process, whereby the universe constructs communities that ignite the creativity of its members, has been at work for 14 billion years, and at every level of complexity. It now operates in the human world. It will, I predict, be operating with a new intensity within the order of the sacred earth. And to learn more, we have a workshop at 2 o'clock today.
Mother Earth, I hear your call. Mother Earth, I hear your call. You sing that we are one, and it's time to come home. Mother Earth, connecting us all. Mother Earth, connecting us all. Your love can heal all hurts, and your love brings us home. Bring us home. Bring us home.
To return home, to listen to Mother Earth. Silence is a wonderful avenue. Meister Eckhart says, Nothing in all creation is so like God as silence. So now we have the invitation to sink into silence, into our own depths, deeper than words, deeper than thoughts, deeper than problem solving and worry is silence. From this deep silence, this emptying of the mind, mindfulness can occur. There can't be mindfulness without mind emptiness. A Native American once said to me, if you listen deeply, you can hear the trees talking to each other, because they are busy talking to each other, and they want to talk to us humans. The problem is, he said, white people so seldom listen. So listening, contemplation, meditation, it's all the same. Let us take this sacred space, this sacred time. We go deeper than time, where past, present, and future come together. That is where we connect to Mother Earth, to ourselves, because we are Mother Earth on two legs. Mother Earth is not just out there or under here, it's us. But like Mother Earth, we have to be silent as well as talky to hear her depth and to hear her pain today. Let us then sink deeply into this space, this place of silence. As we emerge from silence, let us be filled with thanks for our capacity for silence. And we turn to it often during the day, during the week, even when we're super busy. I once talked to an astronaut who told me that it was the utter silence in space and the darkness of space that made him a mystic. Of course, most of these astronauts were originally jet fighter pilots. So I figured out, what did it cost to turn this jet fighter pilot into a mystic? About $42 million a shot. Cosmonauts, too, came back mystics. Figure there has to be a cheaper way. Maybe coming to church at Unity on a Sunday morning, 10 minutes of silence, or doing it at home. But this is a path to our deeper selves, to the God self in all of us. As the psalmist says, be still and learn that I am God. May we be people worthy of stillness, practiced in stillness, drinking stillness. And out of that stillness derives our joy and our actions for peace and for justice. Amen.
Mother Earth, I hear your call. Mother Earth, I hear your call. You sing that we are one, and your love brings us home. Bring us home. Bring us home. Nothing is ever lost, and we are not forgotten. We are living in the heart of God. Nothing is ever lost, and we are not forgotten. We are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. Morning sun coming through the trees, and the green leaves shimmer in the summer breeze. Songbirds singing to the honeybees, living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God.
After the dazzle of day is done, the moon makes love, the sun is sun, the stars
We sleep in dreams both deep and bright, sailing through the velvet night, refreshing the soul to the Spirit's delight, living in the heart of God. Everybody, we are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We're going to sing that again. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living in the heart of God. We are living in the heart of God.
I like that song. Living in the heart of God. We're working in the heart of God. And we're dreaming in the heart of God. And the heart of God today is weeping. It's weeping. Because this amazing planet, this amazing earth, that it took the universe 14 billion years to give birth to, is itself weeping. Is itself in peril and endangered. This version of it. The earth will outlive our species if we continue to be foolish and in denial and stupid and selfish. The earth will go on. But the marvelous diversity, the marvelous creations, the beasties, the elephants, the leopards, the polar bears, the whales, the rainforests, the parrots, birds, reptiles, the insects, they're all endangered by the work or lack of work of one species that is kind of going off the rails. That's us, humans. Thomas Aquinas, one of the great thinkers of the Western civilization, in the 13th century said, one human being can do more evil than all the other species put together. When I read that in Aquinas years ago, my spine got erect. I was kind of proud. Oh, we're good at something. I mean, that's a big deal. One human being. This is 700 years before Stalin or Hitler or Pol Pot. How did Aquinas know that human beings could do no more evil than all the other species put together? Because in his pre-modern consciousness, a consciousness like indigenous people carry within them, he was aware that human creativity and the power of our intellects can do good things and can do very stupid things. And of course, currently, we are doing very stupid things. I was at a conference in January of 2016, during the presidential primaries in Florida. And the conference was on climate change and the rising of the seas. And the conference was held in northern Florida, near where the governor's mansion is. And he had just put out a documentation a few months earlier saying no one working for the government of Florida is allowed to use the word climate change in their emails. That proclamation has since been adapted by our current president, and he's applied it to bigger government circles. And at that time, January 2016, there were two presidential candidates running for the office from Florida, each of them in denial about climate change. So here we have this conference, and the first speaker Friday night was a scientist. He got up and he had some slides. He showed a picture of Florida today. He said, at the rate we're going, 10 years from now, chop. This is what Florida will look like. 20 years from now, chop, chop. This is what Florida will look like. 30 years from now, chop, chop, chop. This is what Florida will look like. Well, one lesson I learned was I wouldn't invest in real estate in Florida. I would invest in dinghies and rubber boots. And I visited South Miami, and there was 4 inches of water on the sidewalks, and their governor and a former governor and a current senator were all in denial about climate change. So our capacity for denial cannot be underestimated. Again, Thomas Aquinas, 13th century, said this about denial. He said, a person who chooses to be ignorant of something that is important, and that's what denial is. It's a choice to be ignorant. And in this case, about something really important, like the survival of the planet as we know it. Such a person, says Thomas Aquinas, is committing mortal sin. What mortal sin means is a deadly virus is coursing through your soul and into the community, because we extend what's going on in us into the community. That's what mortal sin means. So what are some solutions? Well, I had this dream 2.5 years ago, and the dream woke me up at 4 in the morning, and it said this: do it, capital letters and 4 exclamation points. Do it. And I'd never had a dream like that in my life with an order so specific. And what was the it that it was telling me to do at 4 in the morning, and that woke me up? To start a new order, a spiritual order, not a religious order. A gathering of people who feel from their hearts, who work from their hearts, that we can and need to do something, create a community about healing Mother Earth and standing up to the forces that are destroying her in our time. And there would be one vow for this community to join this order. And that vow is, I promise to be the best lover of Mother Earth and the best defender of Mother Earth that I can be. That's the one vow. No vow of celibacy. That's good news. No vow of poverty. No vow of obedience. Although the wisdom of those vows are incorporated, I think, in that one vow. Because we all do have to be responsible about economics, poverty, about relationship and decision-making, that's obedience, and of course about our relationships and our sexuality. So I was telling a young man, a friend of mine who runs our Cosmic Mass, Skylar Wilson, he was 32 at the time, about my dream, and he said, wow, he said, I had a dream that same week, and I think it's very compatible. He said, I dreamt that we were a group, there was a group of people, young people, at the beach, and we were talking about things and creating community, getting along together, and then we all levitated. Whoops. Oh, there you go. Little show and tell there. Levitated over San Francisco, he said. So, make a long story short, he and I and his girlfriend, Jen Listig, started this Order of the Sacred Earth. We took our first vows in a group of 80 people at a Buddhist center in Berkeley on the solstice a year ago. Not the most recent solstice, but a year ago. And 80 people showed up, and there were indigenous people, there were Christians and Jews and Buddhists and Hindus, and at least one atheist, because a 28-year-old woman came up to me afterwards. She said, I'm an atheist, but I'm looking for a community that shares my values. I heard about this group. I want in. These are my values too. So I think that's why I call this a spiritual order, not a religious order, because it is not bound to any one religious headquarters or ideology, but it calls on the diverse wisdom of our species. What do the Muslims have to say about this issue of survival? What do the Buddhists have to say? What do the Jews have to say? What do atheists have to say? Let's pool our wisdom and get on with it, with the task. So we put out this book, Order of the Sacred Earth, an intergenerational vision of love and action. And that word intergenerational is so important. Young people today, as you know, are not flooding the churches. As I say, today, the sign of our times, one sign of our times, is the souls, S-O-L-E-S, of people leaving the churches. You see, seeing the feet leaving the churches. This is a sign of our times. In Spain today, 12% of Catholics are practicing. Spain, which used to be up around 80. In Ireland, it used to be 85 or 90%, is down to about 15% now. So clearly, this is a sign of our times. Religion as we know it is fading. But I think there's a reason for that. And that is that Gaia is saying, hey, this thing is front and center. You don't have to carry all the baggage. As I say, we don't have to operate with basilicas on our back anymore. Backpacks. Backpacks will do. We need to travel light in our spiritual work today. Find ways to find silence and deep listening that are available, and then put that deep listening to work, to common work. And so the three of us, Skylar, Jennifer was 28 when he started the order, Skylar was 32, and then myself, we wrote the first half of this book. Each of us wrote an essay on the order. And then the second half is small essays, 2 pages or 3, by various people, Mirabai Starr and David Corton, and then Brian Swim, the cosmologist whom you heard from this morning. That essay came from this book and we asked these people, various people, to give feedback about their vision of the order, what the order might be to them at this time. And that was that beautiful reading this morning from Brian Swim, pointing out that a hydrogen atom just sits around for 1 billion years until it's invited into community, into a star, and then it does whole new things. It gives birth to living beings. So we put that out there. I think that's an amazing vision, that what we can do together, working out of a spiritual community, not just out of political fighting, reptilian brain against reptilian brain, but out of our deeper selves. Now already we call the communities pods, and we have about 45 of them who've sprung up around North America, and there's one in Peru and in Australia, and about 1,500 people so far have taken the vow. Some take it individually, but it's most powerful to take it in a group. So I'm going to throw out the invitation that you here in the Walnut Creek area, that you starting some pods. And you can go to the webpage and so forth and see how to do this. But these pods are self-organizing. We're treating each other like adults. We're not giving orders about do it this way, and here's 2,000 canon laws to run it. Oh my God, save us. And 55 dogmas. No, thank you. No, it's simpler than that. The song we sang this morning about choosing love, what's it about? Choosing love. Not just for our generation, but especially for the future generations. And that's why the intergenerational wisdom is so important here. Because we older folks, it's our job to sustain and support the younger ones, but they're the ones, the younger generation, the ones facing this apocalyptic time. And it's so serious that I meet a lot of young couples today that are asking, do we dare bring a child into the world today? It's a serious question today. That's how serious this is. We're talking about generations to come, and not just the humans. Think beyond the humans. The whales have been here 55 million years longer than we have. Do they have a right to exist in the future? And the elephants? And the polar bears? And the forests and the rest? This is what it's about. It's about waking up to the sacredness of this relationship, this web of creation that is our species and all these other species. So, what is an order then? Well, of course, there are orders in the East and in the West. So the Buddhists have orders, the Hindus have orders, the Sufis have orders for sure, and of course, Christians have orders. The Roman Catholic Church has orders, the Greek Orthodox Church, the Anglicans, and some others. So when do orders happen? When I look at history of religion in the West, I notice the 3rd century. In the 3rd century, the Christian church started flirting with the empire. Dating, you might say, kind of dating the empire. And some young people with conscience, because that is when conscience is most alive, is when we're young, and this should not be forgotten. There are fewer compromises when you're young. Your ideals are still cooking. These young people said, well, this doesn't sound like what Jesus was talking about to me. Let's leave the city and leave this flirting with the empire and go into the desert. We know these people today as, quote, the desert fathers and the desert mothers. And we draw pictures of them. They have long white beards and all this stuff. They started as young people who abandoned the system and went to live a life of greater integrity in the desert, and where they could not be inscripted into the army to kill people in the name of Jesus. Then the 5th century, now in the 4th century, the church married the empire. So the courting was done. They got married. Then you had the Nicene Creed and all this stuff. The 5th century, you have St. Benedict and his sister St. Scholastica starting the Benedictine monastic movement. And it became very powerful and very important. It did sustain a civilization through their scholarship, their schools, and their agrarian activities, their agriculture, for centuries during what we call the Dark Ages, which really were the cold ages. Europe was very, very cold in that time. But in the 12th century, a couple of things happened. One is that the currents shifted in the Atlantic Ocean and Europe warmed up. So you had a much longer growing period, and so you had larger families. And the feudal system did not have work for the young people. There were a lot of unemployed young people, very restive. And they were not pleased with the religious structures of the time, which were all built around the monastic power. And the monasteries were corrupt, they were fat, the monks were fat and lazy, they were committed to the feudal system, which in fact was dying. And religion was dying. And so what happened at the end of the 12th century? St. Francis, who's already been mentioned this morning, and Hildegard was trying to reform the Benedictines in the 12th century, but St. Francis and St. Dominic emerged on the scene. They were peers, they were contemporaries. Started the Dominican order and the Franciscan order, a new version of Christianity at the time. And I want to stress, especially because St. Francis' name has already been invoked, that we have to rescue Francis from the bird bath. Especially out here in suburbia. He's probably well represented in our bird baths. And I say that not that I have anything against bird baths or birds, but because Francis was a radical reformer trying to shake the church up in its pathology and its stupidity in the 12th century, and its alliance with the powers instead of with the poor. So one of his ideas was this. He said, in my order, the Franciscan order, we will not have priests. We will all be brothers. I don't want any of my brothers to enter the priesthood, become clerical, and start climbing up that clerical ladder where awful things can happen because power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. But you know, his order became very successful very fast because it was very timely. Like I think the Order of the Sacred Earth is very timely. There's so little competition out there for healthy religion today, it could really catch on. So Francis, in just a year or so of founding his order, had over 5,500 members, just the male side. There's a female side as well. St. Clare, who was his girlfriend, she started the Clares, now known as the Poor Clares, because they were locked up. The women were locked up and not allowed to preach, whereas both Clare and Francis's vision was that the women should preach too and help reform the church that way. But so what they did, they took Francis's order away from him, and they reconstituted it, made it clerical, and all that, and Francis died 2 years later of the stigmata. I think he died of a broken heart. They took his vision away, they took his baby away, and killed it. And he was so smart and intuitive. Within the next generation, the Franciscans were running the Inquisition. And so were the Dominicans. So this is why we want to learn from history both its good lessons and its shadow lessons. This is why you don't want an order that's affiliated with a church body, with a big institution like that. They might turn you into inquisitors. So, the idea then of this order being a spiritual order is that, yes, it gathers the wisdom that is now available around the world every day. We're rubbing elbows with Muslims and Buddhists and Hindus and indigenous people, goddess people, pagan people, and various versions of Christianity, and atheists. So why wouldn't an order that mirrors our time be an order that invites everyone around one focused ideal? A 26-year-old woman wrote me when she heard about the order. She said, you know, this is exactly what my generation needs. We are so dispersed by social media. We're all over the place. There's so much distraction. We need a focus. And she said, I can't think of any focus that makes more sense than focusing on the survival of the planet, taking that vow about the survival of the planet. So, an order of the sacred earth, I think, is an invitation to all of us, some to join, and some just to pray with and think about. But I hope that some pods come out of this gathering today. And I think that it's a marvelous mid-step between church and nothing. It is a community. And part of it, of course, will be online. Every month now we have a Zoom meeting, and anyone's invited to join it, where we talk. And there's this group from Peru that gets on, talks about what they're doing in Peru. There's a group from Australia and other parts of North America. So that's one way that it'll operate. But locally, of course, in your own bioregion, it's about your pod. And you people will meet, and you will act as adults. What does this vow mean to you? How do you translate it? What does it mean to your work, to your study, to your citizenship? How can you put it into practice where you are? And then each pod will become its own, take on its own personality and its own agenda. And this is a self-organizing organization. Or we say it's not an organization, it's an organism. So it's a self-organizing organism, these pods are. And that's how the universe works. Why shouldn't humans start working as self-organizing instead of top-down organizing? Enough of that. That's where patriarchy has reigned long enough. So I think that the musicians sang wonderfully of this, the call of Mother Earth. The dream I had was a call, and I'm sharing it with you because I know it was not meant just for me. It was what the Native people call a big dream, which means a dream for the community, not just for the individual. And So I'm glad to be worshiping with you again at Walnut Creek Unity of Walnut Creek, and I'm pleased to be able to share this intergenerational vision of love and action that we call the Order of the Sacred Earth. And I look forward to meeting more of you this afternoon. We'll be talking about some other subjects, especially the subject of the multiple, wonderful names for God. A friend of mine who I shared my recent book on this subject with said it took the top of his head off with what I had to say about the invitation to welcome again the diverse names for divinity and to come up with our own and ones that echo the science of our time as well as the hearts of our time. Boy, I am really falling apart up here. I think my time is done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matthew. I really appreciate your big dream. And I thank you for the idea of the earth as our spiritual church. Great idea. Okay. Our prayer chaplains are available after this service to provide personal prayer support. If you're a prayer chaplain serving today, would you please stand? Our prayer chaplains have the lavender stoles on. And whether you have a joy or a concern in your heart today, praying with our prayer chaplains is a powerful opportunity to raise your intentions up to consciousness. And now it's time for our prosperity celebration. Okay, let's open our hearts to the practice of giving. I invite you to prepare your gifts as we align with the universal law of circulation. As we give, we shall receive. In truth, there is no lack or limitation. Abundance is our true nature. For your convenience, there is a variety of ways to financially give to this community. For credit card donations, use PushPay on the back of your smartphone or take an envelope from the clipboard in the back of each chair. Those of you at home can use PushPay or click on the Donate Now button on your Watch Live screen. I invite you to take your tithe or offering in your hand and repeat our affirmation with me together. Divine love, one with me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful.
for us. Listen to the sound and lose it in sweet music and dance with me. There is beauty in the world, so much beauty in the world, always beauty in the world. There is beauty in the world. Shake your body, boys and girls, for the beauty in the world. Pick your diamond, pick your pearl. There is beauty in the world. We need more loving, not so much othering. They say change is gonna come like the weather. They say forever. They say, but baby, in between, notice the blue skies, notice the butterflies, notice me. Stop and smell the flowers and lose them in sweet music and dance with me. There is beauty in the world, so much beauty in the world, always beauty in the world. There is beauty in the world. Shake your body, boys and girls, for the beauty in the world. Pick your diamond, pick your pearl. There is beauty in the world. Hey, yeah, throw your hands up and holler. Hey, yeah, throw your hands up and holler when you don't know what to do. Don't know if you'll make it through. Remember, God is giving you beauty in the world. There is beauty in the world, so much beauty in the world. Always beauty in the world. There is beauty in the world. Shake your body, boys and girls, for the beauty in the world. Pick your diamond, pick your pearl. There is beauty in the world, 'cause there is beauty in the world. So much beauty in the world, always beauty in the world. There is beauty in the world. Shake your body, boys and girls, for the beauty in the world. Pick your diamond, pick your pearl. There is beauty in the world.
It's not here. Page missing in there, but I have it. Ushers, I invite you to come forward. As we bless this offering, we bless the giver and the gift, that it may go forth and multiply and increase the good in our lives and the lives of those we touch. Join me together. We give thanks for the ever-increasing, unceasing flow of absolute good in our lives now. Thank you. Okay. And we're going to welcome our children and teachers.
We are marching in the light of God. 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 We are marching, marching, we are marching, marching, we are marching in the light of God. We are marching, marching, we are marching, marching, we are marching in the light of God.
Michelle, you want to share with us what you've been doing this morning?
Good morning, everyone. Wow. Okay. So we're starting a new series with the children, and we're doing the 4 sacred elements of life. Does anyone want to share what those are? Raise your hand. Well, okay. I'll get you started. We have air and fire and water And what's the last one? Which one?
Earth.
That's right, Earth. Yay! So which one did we start with today? Does anyone remember? What did we do today?
Air.
Air. And so we did some breathing meditation, and we painted some things. What did we paint? What did we paint? Anybody? What did we paint? Eggs and feathers and birds. So yeah, so that's what we did today.
Let's bless our children and young adults together. Children, youth, and teachers, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divine light within you. Please join hands with your neighbor if you care to, and say our prayer of protection, followed by a peace song.
Together, the light of God surrounds us.
The God of light, the God of God surrounds us. I am love.
The
Power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and I am divine.
And our peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God ever present, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with
You are the light, the love, and the peace of this earth right now. Let your light shine and have fun.